I'm excited to introduce you to Ray Templin. If you've been to Disneyland, especially in Fantasyland, there's a really good chance that you have heard Ray. But he was already working at Disneyland before he started doing some voices for them. So, Ray, where were you working at Disneyland and when did you start?
I started in 1979 and I just auditioned on a lark. I went out to LA to be an actor from Chicago, where I was born and raised. And jazz musicians that I was working with back there said, listen, why don't you call Disneyland? They use a lot of live entertainment and it might be something to fall back on. Now, they probably saw my acting, so it took me a while to call, but I did. And they said, well, we're not looking for anybody. Do you have a picture and a resume? I said, sure. I sent it in. I get a call right away. Can you come down? We want to hear you. So I went down, and this was February or March of '79, and I played. And they said, "When can you start?" And I wasn't ready for that, you know. But sometimes life cuts left, and you go with it or you don't. And so I ended up working Easter week of '79 and that entire summer at playing piano at what we used to call Coke Corner. It's actually officially Refreshment Corner. Anyway, so I was playing there and I met a gal named Stacia Martin who stopped by. Here's the new guy on the piano. And she was working at the Disneyana shop at the time. And I moved on to all kinds of different things at Disney, of course, and joining the band and doing other shows and things. But at the time, I told her I was a voice artist and I gave her my little character voice demo tape. Well, when they were rebuilding Fantasyland, which reopened again in 1983, I get a call from a guy up at, back then it was called WED, Walter Elias Disney. Now I think it's called Walt Disney Imagineering or something. But he said, hey, we heard, and she must have given him my voice tape. We heard your voice tape, and we've written new dialogue for the characters in the dark rides in Fantasyland that doesn't exist on the original recordings. And we hear some things on here that maybe with a little bending and shaping, you could sound like these original characters. And I said, I'd love to give it a try. And so I went up and I ended up doing, I'm the ringmaster on the Dumbo Circus Train, Casey Jr.
Can you still do that?
Well, he says things like, all aboard, all aboard, ladies and gentlemen, please stay seated in your cages and cars while we're rolling.
That's great. Okay, so for Pinocchio, you did some pretty prominent characters. But first, one of the things over by Tobacco Road, you're one of the big wooden Indians, as they called it, right? Saying something over there.
Well, right. When you enter that thing, there's two of them. I think I'm the one on the left. Tobacco Road. It's all free. Come on in. That kind of thing.
And then you were the big villain, Stromboli.
To me, you are belonging. For me, you are making lots of money. And the other one in there is the Cockney Coachman. And he goes something like, you blokes going somewheres? A bad kid always makes a jackass out of himself. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I love that. When you're writing Mr. Toad, there's a shepherd with sheep, and you're that voice, right?
I don't remember too much of him, but he's old. And he says, oh, my sheep, my sheep. That sort of thing is what I recall.
And then I think there's like a little Easter egg at the end that people can still hear today. So there's the devils inside You Go to Hell, which is
Yes.
very unusual because that's not in the movie.
No.
And why don't you tell what that little devil Easter egg is that
Well,
people can listen to?
I'm a dragon, and for some reason there's dragons there, and there's fire and brimstone, of course, and they turn up the heat a little bit towards the end, and this dragon. They said, "What do you think a dragon would be doing in the setting like this?" And I said, "He'd probably be choking, and he does stuff like that. There's no dialogue. It's just this choking dragon, as I recall.
Yeah. And I think you can still hear it today.